Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to check out the new 2024 Ford Mustang GT. This is the new S650 chassis from Ford, so hopefully enjoy. So this particular car is the 401A equipment group, which is the highest trim level highest package within the GT trim level. That gets you your leather interior, the heated and vented seats, all that fun stuff, the upgraded audio system. This particular car also has the performance pack on it, which gets you the larger wheels and tires, the Brembo brakes, Torsen rear differential, rear wing at the back. And on top of that, this car does have the bronze appearance pack, which gets you these bronze wheels, the bronze badging, bronze horse on the front. And this car does have the active valve exhaust, which allows you to vary the tone of the exhaust from, commuter car quiet all the way up to basically catted straight pipes. Let's hear that exhaust. I personally find there's not a huge difference between the normal exhaust mode, the sport exhaust mode, and the track exhaust mode when it comes to just static revving. Where you will hear the difference though is part throttle drivability, that kind of stuff, where you're in and out of light throttle, that sort of thing. That's where you can notice the difference. In reality though, let's be real, we're all going to drive around on track anyway. Now the styling on this car has changed quite a bit from previous years. You can see obviously the front end is completely different on the car. Tires for the performance pack are the same Pirelli P0s, but we finally get some new cool wheels that are something different than the old performance pack 1 wheel that's been around since 2015. On the hood we have one big air extractor instead of 2 little vents here like on the S550s. As someone who works at a car dealership, I have a lot of respect for this change. They went from having a cap that covers the keyhole to just having an open keyhole again. The number of those little end caps that get broken or scratched when you take them off if the car battery dies, you just couldn't count. So now it's nice and easy to get into the car if you've got the battery disconnected or the battery dies. 2 more big changes with the active valve exhaust. It is now the only way to get this quad tip exhaust design. Otherwise, you're going to get a twin tip setup that looks a little bit small. And allegedly, the active valve gets you another 5 horsepower over the regular exhaust, although I haven't seen anybody actually test that yet. Neat little Easter egg on the performance pack cars here. You can see you've got your regular GT badge, but then it does say performance across the top, which I think is really neat. Now this is more than just a refresh. There are some pretty big changes under the hood. Starting with the hood itself, which has factory hood struts for the first time in I don't know how long. Part of how we got the extra 30 or 35 horsepower is this new intake manifold design with dual throttle bodies and dual air boxes. I think that's a really neat design. I'm assuming it's just an airflow thing. I'm not sure why they did it otherwise. The new faux carbon engine cover is a really nice touch as well. And you can see the entirety of that heat extractor is actually functional, which is nice to see. Moving to the inside of the car, you can see a lot of things have changed in here for the 2024 model year. The seats are a different design, just as comfortable as the old seats were. There's a neat little stripe on the seat belts now. Steering wheel's been redesigned. It has a flat bottom, which is kind of motorsports inspired, as well as these little thumb rests up top. Really nice feeling steering wheel. If you spent a lot of time in an S550 Mustang, these buttons have all been rearranged on the steering wheel, so that will take you some time to get used to, but the feel of the buttons is very nice. Unfortunately though, they did get rid of basically all of the temperature control physical buttons, like the tactile ones, and now everything is along the bottom of the screen. That being said, everything on the screen does work very well, and it's well laid out, easy to get to. I'm just kind of old school and like physical buttons whenever possible. And speaking of screens, holy giant screen now. We have this dual 12-inch display. I was worried when I first saw these that it was going to be too much screen and it was going to be, distracting running down the road. But I have to say, Ford actually did a very, very good job changing this screen around where it feels really immersive but isn't in your way. It doesn't inhibit visibility or anything like that. One of my favorite parts of this screen is if I hold this phone right up to myself, you can see the tack in track mode actually perfectly follows the inside of the steering wheel, so you can always see your RPM regardless of steering wheel. Speaking of gauge modes, I should show you guys the new Fox body gauge mode that everybody's talked about. I think it's really cool. Throwback to the 87 to 93 Fox body gauges, which is kind of a neat touch. And this is your normal gauge mode, just in case you were wondering what that looks like. Another new change, we finally have wireless charging in the Mustang, and we still have the horse button to get you to your track apps and all of your Mustang changes. You change your exhaust modes over here now. Track apps are all the same with the addition of the new drift brake, which I have to say has a really nice tactile feel. There's a lot more weight behind this than you can really see on camera. And off camera, I did some testing. I have to say it works very, very well. Just like before, we can create a custom mode. For me, the answer in these cars is normal base drive mode, comfort steering. It's electrically assisted steering, so you're really not getting any more or less feedback, whether you're in comfort, normal, or sports. So comfort's the lightest effort. I think that's the answer. Traction control on for daily driving, and then full track exhaust and track gauge mode. They've also replaced the gauges that used to be above the screen with auxiliary gauges here. That gets you your voltage and oil pressure, as well as a G meter, which is really cool to see. I just found out you can actually customize this by clicking settings over here, and then you can swap out which gauge is where. Now that we've gone through most of the physical changes of the car, let's go see how it drives. Okay, so here we are driving the new S550 Mustang. I've got steering and comfort. Again, it's electrically assisted, so you're really not getting any more steering feel by having a heavier steering setting like Sport. And I have the exhaust in track, which I find for daily driving is perfectly acceptable. The first thing I noticed driving these cars is that they've really tightened up the shifter on the MT82. They've gone from, fairly long throw, kind of notchy 6-speed to now it's a super tight, direct, smooth shift. Yeah, I mean, the ratios are still the same, but the throws are a lot shorter, which is nice. Another thing, I don't know if you guys can hear the blips on the downshift, but that's actually the car, not me. The automatic rev matching is finally quick enough to actually use, maybe not on the track, but in some, spirited street driving, it's fast enough. The chassis, they've done their regular once over of everything, but there really weren't any major changes that needed to be made to the chassis of the S550, so we're really still a similar chassis, maybe a little bit more refinement, but super, super nice car to drive. That is a big tractor trailer on a road that he will not make it through that hairpin. He's gonna have a bad day. But anyway, overall, I think this is a great car. The screen's taken me a little bit to get used to, but now that I have all the information is right where you want it. And like I said, it's really cool in track mode how the tack kind of follows the inside of the steering wheel. I love that. drift mode we'll have to try out when we get some snow on the ground. I think that'll be fun. I don't really want to tear up tires on dealer inventory on dry pavement with the drift mode, but in brief testing it worked very well. I think I'll leave you guys there. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you really liked it, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Make sure to check out my Patreon. You can get free stickers on there. Other than that, I'll catch you in the next one. Alright, for those of you that stuck to the end, let's hear all the RPM.